Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining May's Lunch and Learn. As I'm sure many people know, May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and the theme for this month is Together for Mental Health. So this month, I have gotten together a few of the different organizations around Virginia to talk about how we provide help and support for families throughout the state. So I am going to share a little bit about Virginia Family Network. I know many people probably know a lot about us, but if anyone new is here and looking for help, I wanted to be able to share how we're able to help. So, Virginia Family Network is a contractual agreement between DBHDS and NAMI Virginia. We were started to continue the parent movement across the state to create opportunities to support, educate, and empower other families with children with mental health needs, thus promoting a family-driven and youth-guided policy throughout the state of Virginia. So we were selected because we have a similar mission and visions and values to NAMI Virginia. There's a history of some peer-led incentives that we do. So everything is parents talking to other parents, which is great because you always feel like you're talking to friends. We have access to the NAMI Virginia signature programs. So we're always able to pull from some really great programs to make sure that we're giving the best information and trainings that we are able to. And we use the affiliates from Virginia or NAMI Virginia to help Virginia Family Network spread the word of all that we're trying to do. So VFN's goals is to support and educate. And then we also have learning opportunities and leadership programs. We have lots of platforms for sharing and continuing connection and lots of outreach. So this is the vision of NAMI Virginia and also the vision and mission of Virginia Family Network. So you're able to see why we were able to come together and partner so well together. So to be able to reach our goals of supporting families across Virginia, we have educational programs like the NAMI Family Support Groups, and we have ones specifically for parents. We use NAMI Basics, which is now a self-guided, so you can go through at your own pace. We offer children's challenging behaviors multiple times a year. We have many done-in-a-day workshops and presentations that we are able to offer in schools and communities. And then like today, we offer education through our monthly Lunch and Learn. We have lots of leadership opportunities. So there's an advanced parent leadership training, which is great for parents who are ready to start giving back to their communities and want to share with other parents the great things that they have learned. We have a Parent Leadership Institute, so you get to continue those learning those leadership qualities and things that will help. We participate in lots of work groups. We sit on lots of committees. Virginia Family Network has an advisory board of parents that help guide us and help us promote throughout the state. And we always take part in Mental Health Advocacy Day. So we stay connected and are able to share what's going on through the helpline. So if anyone ever needs someone to connect to, you are welcome to call our helpline. We have a Facebook page, and I will be sure to connect and leave all these links below. We have a monthly newsletter that you are able to sign up for. We offer a book club that meets twice a month, where we not only read some really great books, but we have time just to connect with each other. We do a coffee chat once a month, and it's a really quick check-in just to kind of see how your other parents across the state are doing, how your friends are feeling. There is the Family and Youth Leadership Summit that we just had the end of last month, which was an amazing time to get together and see each other. Lots of learning opportunities and connection there. And every year, NAMI walks, we have a team with them. And we also get an opportunity to have a little VFN reunion during this time. So for more information, there's a Virginia Family Network website, a NAMI Virginia website, and we have a Children and Youth Resource Center. And again, I'm going to be able to share all of this with anyone, but I also have my information here. So if you needed any of this, you can email me or our youth and young adult coordinator, who's going to be speaking in just a minute, or our director of programs, and she can help you get any of this information also. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to let Wendy share hers, and then she can start to tell you about Youth Move Virginia.
Awesome. Thank you, Nicole. So let me get my PowerPoint pulled up. All right, can everyone see that? Awesome. So Youth Move is here to support youth and young adults ages 13 to 30 within the family unit. Some of our programming may also be beneficial for siblings that are in that age range. So if you're a parent looking for resources or programming for your youth or young adult, check out our options. We do have that resource center and resource guides on our website, like Nicole just talked about. And we also have a number of fact sheets and webinars that provide information on specific topics and services that are relevant to parents who have children and youth with mental health needs. So for all of that, you can check out our website, or if you don't find exactly what you're looking for, you can always reach out to get more information. So like Nicole was saying, I'm the youth and young adult coordinator. That means that I oversee the NAMI signature programs that we have, like NAMI on Campus, Ending the Silence, Youth Move youth groups, and Say It Out Loud. I also work on some other trainings and opportunities specific to youth and young adults, like leadership trainings. We have one called a resiliency workshop, and just anything else that comes up throughout the year that could be specific to that population. So we keep saying Youth Move Virginia, but what is Youth Move? So it stands for Motivating Others Through Voices of Experience, and it's actually a platform for young people to share their stories and inspire others. So it's an opportunity for them to get together through these different activities. Again, all ages 13 to 30, so it's with their peers, and talk about things that are important to them. They might do some activities, they might do some advocacy. They participate in Advocacy Day and other programs that we have going on, like the Youth and Parent Summit that we just had. And it's important to know that all of our programming is offered completely free of cost. The Youth Move Virginia is actually a contractual agreement between the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Services, also known as DBHDS, and NAMI Virginia for youth and young adults, and it started back in 2014. So that's just a little bit of our history. We do have a Youth Move Advisory Board. So this advisory board is composed of 15 young people from around the state who have lived experience or connection to mental health. And like I said, they get together and they talk about things that are going on relevant to the state. It could be advocacy events that they want to do. It could be events that we're planning for, like NAMI Walk is getting ready to come up in October. So when we meet next, we'll likely start planning on what activities or things they want to do as part of that, whether it's having their own team, doing some fundraiser for that event, or how they're going to volunteer and be part of that event when it gets here. And we do have a few open slots on that board. So if you know a youth or young adult that would be interested in joining us, they can email me to get an application. We have the Youth Move youth groups that meet virtually online. In the past, these groups met 1 to 2 times a month, and they did different activities like bucket list, vision boards, and goal setting. It's currently on hold, but I'm hoping to get them coming back really soon. So if you have an idea for a future group or would be interested in leading one of these meetings, or know a youth or young adult that would be interested in being involved in these meetings, again, let me know, reach out to me via email and we can chat more about that. We have our Ending the Silence, which is one of NAMI's signature programs. There are 3 different types of this presentation. So there's one geared specific to students and youth that can be done in high school settings. There's another one for parents and caregivers. So it's the same basic information as far as the statistics go, but it has some activities and some scenarios just sort of based more to that population to help you figure out what might be a typical adolescent behavior and what might be a warning sign of a mental health condition. And then lastly, we have the educators and school staff version. And again, the core information is the same, but it has some of those scenarios to help school staff figure out if things are typical behaviors or if they're warning signs and they should be reaching out to work with other people, work with the family to see what's really going on. And all of them talk about, the team approach and how it's very important to have those wraparound services. Our current affiliates that offer this presentation are Northern Virginia, Coastal, and Central, but we also offer it through NAMI Virginia all across the state. So if you're interested in bringing this presentation to your area, you can reach out to me and I can help connect you with those affiliates. Or if there's not one of those affiliates close to you, we can at the state level work on setting that up and pulling from our volunteers as well. And we're always, because everything is peer led, looking for people who are interested in sharing their story, being presenters for this program. So we have a lead person that does the beginning portion, and then we always have a young adult that tells their story at the end for all 3 of these presentations. So if you know someone that's interested in doing either of those roles, they can reach out and talk to me more about it. Or there is a link for that that I shared with Nicole to put on the information sheet that she shares underneath of the presentation today. Next, we have Say It Out Loud. Say It Out Loud is sort of a condensed version of Ending the Silence. And everything for this program is available on our website. A couple of our Youth Move advisory board members put this together and made the small video, and there's a discussion guide that goes along with it. So anyone that wants to do a presentation in their community in any setting can get on our website and download this information, download the video, and just be able to go out and do this program on their own. I mentioned our resiliency workshop a little bit earlier. So we had one just a month ago and 7 people completed it. It's designed for youth and young adults ages 13 to 30 again, and it's led by 2 youth or young adults that are in that same age range, and talking about what resiliency is, how to identify it, and how to support others. It's a lot of activities within that. It's a 2-day, 6-hour program. And we have opportunities available to join the wait list for the next workshop or to be a future facilitator of that program. And the last thing I'm going to talk about is our Family and Youth Leadership Summit that Nicole also referenced in her presentation. We just had this last month, and these are 2 pictures from our youth and young adult room. I'm Determined is in the one at the bottom. They came and did a wonderful presentation for our youth. And then we also had different crafts and games where youth could just come in and kind of hang out and do those activities throughout the day. And that is a joint effort between NAMI Virginia, the Virginia Family Network, and Youth Move Virginia. So that is my presentation, and here is my contact info again, along with our social media links. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And I'm going to stop sharing so we can go to our next presenter.
Thank you, Wendy, for sharing. Catherine, did you want to go next?
Sure, I'd love to. Well, good afternoon, everybody. I am going to try to share my screen, so please let me know if you can see it. Can y'all see it?
Yes.
Yes. All right. Well, good afternoon. My name is Catherine Shackelford. I do use she, her pronouns. And so I work for Sarah of Virginia. So we're going to kind of talk about what Sarah is, what kind of programs we offer. We offer a wide range of different programs, which is cool. I'm really glad to be a part of this because I love sharing resources. I think that we need to be aware of everything that's happening in our communities so we can help the most amount of people. So Sarah of Virginia, it stands for Substance Abuse and Addiction Recovery Alliance. Really, we are a statewide organization. We are a nonprofit advocacy organization. So that was like the main purpose. That was why we were created, was to advocate for individuals who were experiencing substance use disorders, the stigma that's associated with it, as well as finding support for family members. So our mission is to transform Virginia communities through hope and education, and to advocate for addiction prevention, treatment, and recovery. Our purpose is to be a leading voice in Virginia on substance use disorders and recovery. We definitely deal with a lot of co-occurring, a lot of the individuals that participate in our programs. We realize that behavioral health is a whole gamut, wide range of things. So we are able to look at how we can best address all of those issues simultaneously. So looking at the importance of the programs that we run, we know that substance use disorders is very prevalent in our area. We realize that there is an increase of overdoses in the area. So in Richmond, specifically in 2020, we saw a 150% increase of opioid overdose deaths, which was crazy. It really got us going because we really wanted to increase the programs that we were running to reach the most amount of people. Within Virginia, we see that there is 165,000 Virginia residents ages 12 or older who become dependent on illegal substances or alcohol. And so what we do is we try to provide them services, both whether they identify as being in recovery or however we can support them on that journey. So our advocacy efforts, we definitely do a lot of things. So some of our priorities are increasing Medicaid reimbursement for peer recovery specialists. So we are a peer-run organization. So everybody that works for us is somebody who's in recovery from either mental health or substance use disorders. And so we definitely have found it beneficial that they are paid adequate amounts so they can make a living. So we definitely advocate for that. Some of the other things are barrier crimes. So some of the things that prevent people from gaining employment. So we know that oftentimes with behavioral health challenges, there's often a criminal, a lot of people are justice involved after that. So we found that it is really important for us to be advocating for that. We definitely want to increase harm reduction programs. So we get naloxone out as much as possible. Any kind of harm reduction programs, we support that as well. And then any kind of justice reform that we definitely support, as well as the Recovery High School that's hopefully happening in the Richmond area. We have been advocating for that. So we like to be on all sides of these things so we can provide, our knowledge, right? Because we believe we're the experts. And so nothing about us without us. So that's the true idea behind it. And so when it comes to education, we have quite a few programs. So we offer the peer recovery specialist 72-hour training. So that has been really great to be able to offer that. We do ethics trainings. We do Voices for Recovery training. So we'll go into some of the jail systems and we will show individuals who may be incarcerated or about to be released and feel that this is their calling to tell their story. We kind of show them effective ways to tell their story, how they need to know their audience and all those great things. So that's been a really great program that we've been running in the jails. We've run a medication assisted recovery support training. So peers who are in the field, so they can have the knowledge, break that stigma of what medication assisted recovery is, because we want to be most effective in every aspect. And then other organizations that may not be recovery oriented, we try to teach them about recovery and how they can empower people on their recovery journey. So for example, we may go to homeless shelters and teach their staff how they can empower one's recovery, because they may not be knowledgeable in that. And we definitely want them to have that support. And our key one, the one that I am diehard about, is our Revive trainings. We definitely are getting naloxone out there because we definitely find that it is imperative that we get as much out there as possible. So these are our programs. So the Behavioral Health Docket, the Alive RVA Warm Line Project, our Recovery Group Center, our Young People in Recovery, which I'm the program coordinator of, so that's where my heart is, and then our Project Recover. So I'll just briefly go into each one of these and give y'all some contact information for them. So the Behavioral Health Docket, it is a partnership with the Richmond Behavioral Health Authority and the City of Richmond. It provides peer recovery specialists to assist with behavioral health and criminal dockets. So they will go in the courtrooms with individuals, they will advocate on their behalf. There's requirements, they have to do certain things in order to get that support. But it's been a really great program. We're finding that it's not great to be punishing individuals for their behavioral health challenges, and that just providing them just that little bit of support is really effective. So if you know of anybody who could benefit from this program, who may be justice involved, you can always reach out to us at Sarah, and we can find ways to help you with that. And then our Alive RVA Warm Line. So this is a partnership with RBHA again and the Mental Health of America. And so this Warm Line, it's all peers. It's 365 days a year. And it is 8 o'clock in the morning till midnight. And you can call and they will provide you any kind of support or resources that they can find. There have been a lot of people that have been helped on this Warm Line. It's direct support. They're able to provide you with where has actual beds for recovery housing and stuff like that. So it's definitely not just a Virginia project. We've had people in other states call and we've had to find resources for them and call, but it's been really effective. And the number for that is down there on that slide. It is 833 for Peer VA, and they are all so supportive. They're all in recovery. People come just to talk to somebody, you know, they'll just call just to have somebody to listen, which is fantastic. And then we have our recovery space. So this is where we provide all of our groups. They love it. We have a great space over there. And so we are able to provide group peer support as well as one-on-one peer support. We have a multitude of different groups that we run over there at different times during the week. And so we have found that they get to participate in what groups that they do have, so they feel like they have a say. So that's been fantastic as well. So we really do enjoy those groups, and I will give that information as well. And then the Young People in Recovery program, that's the one that I run. It is the best program in the world. I'm a little biased, but we provide support to 18 to 24. That is the targeted age range, right? That's where we curtail all of our curriculum to. But we provide support through a multitude of ways. So we have our own all recovery groups. So we get online and we have our own discussions that is curtailed to what's going on in their lives. Some of them are high school age, stuff like that. And so we are able to provide that. And then the most support we get is with the pro-social events. So we get out in the community, we do fun things, we go bowling, ice skating. We've been doing community cleanup. We found that that's been effective as well. So we're trying to support them where they're at. If they need community service hours for anything, we provide them with some areas where they can receive that as well. We do workshops that is specific to that population. So financial empowerment workshops, housing workshops, stuff like that. So we really do enjoy to meet them where that population's at and what their needs are. We try to find resources that would help them. And then we also like to go together and we will advocate together. So with the Recovery High School, a lot of the individuals that participate in this program really support that because either they were young in recovery and needed that support, or they're in high school and they would really benefit from it. So them having that voice has been really good, and they have a platform to stand on. So that's been great. So here's some pictures of some of our just most recent events. So we have a lot of fun, and it's definitely enjoyable, and we definitely don't force anybody. There's no abstinence, there's no requirements. Everything we do is free. So that's been great as well. And then we definitely enjoy community outreach. So we like to partner with other organizations because we don't want to reinvent the wheel, right? We definitely want to support other organizations and what they're doing, and they do the same for us. So if you ever have an outreach event or any kind of resource fair, we would love to come. We would love to come provide naloxone and provide any additional resources. So you can definitely reach out to us at sarah.org. More specifically, you can reach out to me as well, and I would be happy to help you with any of these programs. So thank you.
Thank you so much. That's great information. Patty, did you want to go next?
Absolutely, I will. Thank you so much. All right, well, without further ado, I will get right to it. Let me pull up my PowerPoint. All right. So I am Patty Hodge, and I am a regional transition specialist with DARS. I work for the Division of Rehabilitative Services. So I will talk a little bit about what that means. DARS is a state agency, and it's kind of an umbrella agency that houses two different divisions, the Division for Aging Services and the Division for Rehabilitative Services. I am here strictly to talk about the Division of Rehabilitative Services. That's what I do. So all of these services under DRS are all services for people with disabilities who are looking for a job. So all of our services are always geared toward employment. That's what we do. All right, and it's high quality employment, not just, people don't come to us just for any old job. We're talking careers here. And we also have services that include assistance to students with disabilities. So just a quick view, real quick, just to let you know, DRS does have offices all across the state. We have 6 districts in our Division of Rehabilitative Services. So just real quick, I just wanted to show you the black dots on the map. That shows you where we have offices all throughout the state. So there's got to be one near you where we can serve and provide services if you're interested in our services. So DRS offers 2 types of services. We have our pre-employment transition services, or PREETs, and these services are available to students with disabilities only. And then we also have our vocational rehabilitation services. Those are our traditional services that most people know about. Those are our VR services, and those services are available to anyone, students with disabilities, youth and adults with disabilities as well. So you could say we serve people from 14 to 114. If a 114-year-old person wants a job, we can help with that. So just to dig a little bit deeper to let you know about PREETs, we do serve students with disabilities, or an SWD under PREETs. So a definition of a student with a disability, they have to be a person who is ages 14 to 21, sometimes 22 if their birthday's during the school year. And then they have to be enrolled in a recognized education program, and they have to have a documented disability. That is our definition of a student with a disability. So Those students with disabilities could receive either of those services that I previously discussed. They would qualify for our pre-ETS program. The pre-employment transition services do not require an eligibility determination for services. Anybody who comes to us with the documentation that shows us they are a student with a disability can participate in those services. And all of those pre-ETS services are also at no cost to our clients. On the other hand, a student with a disability could also receive our vocational rehabilitation services, or VR services. These services are a little bit different. They do require an eligibility determination in order to participate in that program. And some of those services are subject to client financial participation. So that would be a discussion and some paperwork done between a potential client and the DARS counselor. All right, so just to go a little bit more into detail about those pre-employment transition services, these are the first step kind of in the continuum of our services. So these services are meant to basically do the exploration piece and get students thinking about their future and what they might like to do after high school is over, and what is a career anyway, and what does that mean to them. So these services are just meant to kind of empower students to maximize their thought processes about what they're going to do and how they're going to be more independent when they're done with high school. We work closely with our school partners in a collaboration. Everything that we do here at DARS is a collaborative service. We work closely with our local school divisions, the families that we support, as well as other community support services as well. So what we try to do is we try to get students thinking about their future and thinking about what career pathways they might like to follow. So those are pre-ETS. So just I want to talk a little bit more, since we're talking about services to people with mental illness and how can DARS support people. Well, we work with everybody who has any kind of disability, including mental illness. And everything that we do is in collaboration with your support system. So thinking about who is your support system. At home, you may have family members, you may have guardians or whoever who are supporting you. And we have, if you're a student, then we are working closely with teachers and counselors and your positive friends who are supporting you. And then we're also working with if you're working with a caseworker or a therapist or a mental health counselor, whatever the case may be. So there's also, Nicole mentioned earlier, I think, or somebody mentioned earlier, the I'm Determined folks. And so we also like the I'm Determined program. We use their resources a lot. And we like to look at the Good Day plan. And that's one way that we have our students and our adult clients as well think about who their support system would be. So just a little tangent there, but very important to these services. So pre-employment transition services begin general and they become more individualized as time goes on. They may lead to interests that can be further explored in those VR services. Like I mentioned before, those pre-ETS services are at no cost to participants, and they can be provided virtually or in person, anywhere in the community, at school, wherever. Real quick, there are 5 pre-employment transition services that we do provide. We do job exploration counseling. We do work-based learning and work-based learning experiences. That's the hands-on experiences in the community. We also do some counseling on post-secondary education and training options. If the student expresses a career interest to us and we start talking about, okay, so what training or education is required in order to be successful in those careers. So we have to think about those things too. We also do some workplace readiness training, and very importantly, instruction and self-advocacy. So all of those services fall under that pre-ETS category in those no-cost services to students with disabilities. All right, and then moving on. So like I mentioned before, those pre-ETS help students to get an early start to exploring and, you know, develop those foundational skills that will be required for success after high school is over. And then we go into those VR services to transition, because they're not going to be in school forever. They're going into the adult world and adult life. So we need those adult services to transition into. And these services are designed to get a little bit more focused, a little bit more detailed on that person and what their goals are and how can DAR support them in reaching those goals. So the vocational rehabilitation program helps people with disabilities to become prepared for, find, and maintain employment in the community. So these services are individualized, they are planned, and there's an agreement between a counselor and their client. So in order to receive these services, a person must first apply and become eligible for these services, for the VR program. And just to show you what that might look like, you do the referral and application, and anybody can refer anybody to our services. That's why we are all here today. We're all collaborative agencies, and we work together to, if I'm working with somebody who I think would do well working with another agency, then I make a referral, and the same goes the other direction as well. So somebody becomes referred to our services and they would submit an application for services. Then a counselor would do an intake meeting and an eligibility with the potential client. Once the person has become determined eligible for services, then they would develop a plan with their counselor of what their career goal is going to be and how can DAR support that goal and what is everybody's role in reaching that goal. So that's the individualized plan for employment, the IPE. Then we provide the services and the client participates in those services actively. And then that results in employment, competitive employment, integrated in the community, working with people who have disabilities or do not have disabilities. And then once a person is successfully employed, then we close their case. All right, so here's some referral information to refer yourself or somebody you know with their consent. These are voluntary services. Nobody can require a person to participate in these services. You can locate your local DARS office or call the 800 number. And then, like I mentioned before, we accept self-referrals and referrals from basically anybody else who is referring somebody that they know who they have their consent to refer them. Once we receive that referral, we do the intake meeting, we do the eligibility, we do the plan and move forward with services. And then here's just some quick information on that intake and eligibility. So the intake is a get to know you meeting where the counselor meets with the client and starts talking about their background and what are their goals and expectations, maybe if they have an employment history, talking about that too, and what has been their barriers to employment and how can we look at overcoming those barriers. And then that eligibility determination happens within 60 days, and then the plan comes from there. Just some examples of what some VR services might be. Please keep in mind that all of our services here at DRS are individualized to every different person that we work with. There's no cookie cutter way of doing these services. So it really just depends on what a person's goals are, what their needs are in order to reach those goals, and how DARS can support that. So any of these services definitely everybody gets counseling and guidance and job placement assistance, but anything else from there might or might not happen depending on the need and the situation, and where the person is. And then we do have you may have heard of Wilson Workforce Center, WWRC, our training center located in Fishersville, Virginia, where we have vocational evaluation services. We have student and youth services with the PERT program. We have our medical services, vocational training programs, many different types of services there that DARS counselors can refer and send their clients to. So that is it for me. I have some contact information here. If there are any questions, please don't hesitate to email me. And if I don't know the answer to your question, or it's more appropriate for me to connect you to somebody else, I'm certainly happy to do that. So thank you so much. And I look forward to hearing from anybody who has any questions.
Thank you for all that great information. Amanda, did you want to go next?
Sure. Can everybody hear me? Okay, great. Let's see here. Give me 1 second. And I'll try to be quick. I know, Nicole, we have till 1, is that right?
Yes.
I shouldn't be that long. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Amanda Long. I'm the program manager for the Cameron K. Gallagher Mental Health Resource Center, historically known as the Children's Mental Health Resource Center. We're located at the Virginia Treatment Center for Children, which is on the Brook Road campus of the Children's Hospital of Richmond at VCU. So I do use she, her pronouns, and we'll just dive right in. All right. So the need, this is going to be review for a lot of people on here, but obviously we know that one of the biggest barriers to seeking mental health treatment is stigma. And there's a lot of things that contribute to that stigma. There's a lot of perceptions and stereotypes. So I've just listed some here. You know, as we know, 1 in 5 children will experience a serious mental illness. Half of all mental health conditions begin before the age of 14. There is generally an 8 to 10 year average delay between onset of symptoms and intervention. And 75% of children won't actually receive the mental health care they need, because this is true. There simply are not enough providers or resources for people in Virginia. And that's not going to change overnight, but we're here to help people at least find what is available. So, I just include this slide because obviously what keeps us going is hope. There is hope that there will be a light at the end of the tunnel. Things do get better, but it takes persistence, and it takes, you do need to take that first step. So 70 to 90% of people who seek proper treatment for mental health disorders do see a significant reduction in symptoms, but you have to first seek that help. And whether that be through therapy, peer support, medication, or all of the above, there are lots of resources at our disposal. So let's talk about the need for a second. Let's see. We all know it's difficult for families to find providers for a number of reasons. It's hard to locate a provider that's going to be appropriate, one that specializes in the particular thing you are looking for, maybe somebody who has a specialty in trauma-informed care or play therapy. It's hard to find a provider that's accepting new patients, especially now. We hear a lot from families over and over again that they've made gazillions of calls and every single provider says, sorry, we're not accepting any new patients. Unfortunately, there's not much we can do about this other than just encourage families to, advocate for themselves, get on a waiting list, and in the meantime, do what they can to support themselves and their family. We also know that it's hard to find a provider who takes your insurance and a provider that is within driving distance. So there's lots of barriers here for families who are seeking mental health services. So we exist to help ease that burden a little bit. We want to make it a little bit easier for families to find where they need to go. So now we'll talk about what navigation looks like. So how do we get around, right? How many of us use a navigation service like Google Maps, Waze, or a GPS? And why do we use it? What makes for a good versus bad navigation system? So there are advantages to using a GPS on your phone because it's in theory stays updated, and there are lots of drawbacks with paper maps. So why don't we use paper maps anymore? They can be complicated, cumbersome, out of date. GPS is more convenient because, it has voice navigation, it indicates the flow of traffic, all these other things. So we like to say that the CMHRC acts as a sort of GPS for families as they develop their own roadmap to get the help that they need. And we want to support them each step of the way on that journey. So how we can help, we have a team of family navigators. These are family members who have their own lived experience navigating the system. So they listen to family stories and their priorities. We're here to serve the family, not the provider. We provide psychoeducation and that peer support and that empathetic listening ear. We have a database of over 900 resources in the state that we try our very best to keep updated, but that kind of ebbs and flows. But it is a place where we, it's how we, find the majority of our resources. We do some outside education as well, workshops, community engagement. And we always are available to follow up with families if they request it. So we're not just gonna, give them resources and let them be on their way. A lot of times families, that's all they need. They don't want any follow-up, and that's fine. But we're meeting the families where they are. So whatever they need, we try to accommodate that. Here are just some feedback comments on how family navigation or resource navigation has really helped families. How families find us. We have a website, it's mentalhealthforkids.org. We also have a number. This is a call center that's in operation 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. You can leave a voicemail if a family navigator is unable to answer the phone, which means they're just on the phone with somebody else, or they're busy looking for resources for another family. And this is where you'll find us. This is the VTCC. We moved here in 2018 when this building opened. And we have this big, beautiful space. It's right below the butterflies. We're adjacent to the lobby. Hopefully in a post-COVID world, we will get back to having open hours where families can actually come into the resource center and check out our resource library. But in the meantime, we are essentially operating as a call center right now. And then lastly, I did just want to share that the Children's Hospital of Richmond does have some pretty good resources available on their website in terms of COVID-19 and how that's affected families and how to best support your children or the young people in your life. So I did just want to point that out because needless to say, this has been a really rough 2 years and then some. And we all need to, you know, we're all stronger. The more information we know, the better off we are. So that's about it.
Thank you so much, Amanda. That was great information.
You're very welcome.
And Kendra.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. I do apologize. They started doing some yard work outside of my window, so I had to put the headsets in. So hopefully this works okay and it doesn't get too staticky. But thank you so much for allowing me to be here today to share with you all about PTSI. My name is Kendra Wormley. I am the RSA project coordinator with PTSI, and I'm going to go ahead and get into it. So PTSI, PEATC. We stand for the Parent Educational Advocacy Training Center. We are a statewide nonprofit whose passion is to empower families of children with disabilities in Virginia. We serve as Virginia's Parent Training and Information Center, or PTI, and we have done so for over 40 years. Our central focus is working with families and helping them to navigate the special education and disability services system. We have specific areas of targeted outreach because we recognize and we understand that these populations face additional hurdles when it comes to assessing services within the Commonwealth of Virginia. So some of our, well, not some, our targeted areas are, as you see on our screen, we have our Latinx outreach entity in which we work with families and we provide resources to our Hispanic and Latino population. We have 2 staff members who are on staff who speak Spanish and are able to work with our families and disseminate information in the language that the families feel comfortable. We also have our military outreach, in which Virginia is very filled with a lot of military families, retired spouses, and those who are active military. And we do have our military outreach specialists who work with our families because they actually live that life as family members of a military person, and helping those become advocates for their exceptional family members while navigating services in today's military. We do have our family out engagement, and where we support families to get involved in the students' lives. We know that for a lot of times our students are more successful when they have that engagement of family and having that collaboration relationship between parents, family members, and the student and the community, and how that can be successful for our students. We also have our bully awareness because we feel that a lot of our, and as we know, a lot of our students who are bullied are those who do have disabilities. And we do have our skill trainer, who is our family engagement specialist, who works with our families and helping provide that information and subjects around kids being bullied at school, and also with cyberbullying. We have our early childhood entity. We know that early age of diagnosis is important for a child's life and their families. So we have our early childhood services that encompasses from birth to age 8. And we provide a number of supports and resources to help navigate that newly diagnosis for children as they're developing, and finding those resources along the way. And the last targeted outreach that we have is transition to adulthood. We know that transitioning from high school to adulthood can be a very scary time, and we like to provide as much information as possible to our families and professionals when it comes to transition services. So within PTSI, we are the Virginia's Parent Training and Information Center, and we are responsible to meet the needs of families throughout the Commonwealth. We do so through our satellite offices that you see here on our map, and our staff members, we're spread throughout the state of Virginia. I myself am in Region 2. I am in the Hampton Roads area, but we do have staff members in Richmond, Roanoke, Harrisonburg, etc. So how do we provide services? A lot of times we spend our time on the phone with families and professionals and helping them understand what questions they may have and pointing them into the right directions. We also follow up a lot through email and send a lot of emails out. So because we have a lot of resources as well. We have trainings and webinars and workshops that we do offer. Most of those are online currently right now, but we do offer face-to-face for those who request it. And lastly, we have a large number of easy to read one-page fact sheets that are available on our website and for download. We're also able to mail these out to people, and these topics can include special education timelines. What is in an IEP? What are the roles of the IEP table? Prior written notice, transition. So we have a number of fact sheets with focus on those subjects. We do partner, we collaborate with a lot of local, state, and national organizations and agencies, including the ones that you see here on our screen. We partner with Disability Inclusive Sexual Health Network to educate students and their families, students with disabilities and their parents on the topic of sexual health and wellness. We feel like this is a very important topic for our youth. We also work with TASK, Taking Action for Children, for Special Kids, that is located in Tazewell, Virginia. And they help PTSI in supporting families in our southwestern portion of Virginia. And we also work with the Virginia Department of Education, or VDOE, to help reach those targeted populations that we mentioned earlier and provide larger statewide trainings. Because we are a PTI, this is something that is mandated through law, and each state is required to have a PTI. And as you see on the screen, in our region, we are considered as Region B, and Virginia, we are the only PTI in the state of Virginia. We are also a military technical assistant provider for regions B and D, and we provide training for parent trainings, information centers on how to best support family members, military family members with children with disabilities in the states that you see highlighted here. And we also were awarded an RSA grant that I play a huge part in which we're providing transition related services and transitioning from high school to adulthood, life after leaving high school. We provide those related trainings and resources to that B1 region that you see here on the screen. It includes Virginia, Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida, because we know that transition is vital, and we want to provide everyone with tools that will help their child have a successful transition into adulthood. Earlier, I mentioned that we do have a number of workshops and trainings, and I just want to share with you some quick trainings that we have coming up very soon within this next month or two. We do have our hidden curriculum series that will be we have one on May 18th, and it's talking about we're going to be focusing on that hidden curriculum and how to keep a job. This is geared for that hidden curriculum the things that you think you should know, but sometimes it might be harder for a person with a disability. We do have our sexual health and wellness webinars that will be taking place on May 24th. We will be having porn literacy, protecting our relatives now, in which we will have Dr. Stacy Carr, and we'll explore the dangers of internet and pornography and talk about ways to keep our loved ones safe. On June 9th, we will have Tinder, Grindr, and more, and we will focus on skills that are needed to navigate these apps safely and how to avoid scams. And on June 13th, we're going to have teaching consent, because consent is important, both giving and receiving consent. What does that look like? Teaching those strategies, and those webinars will start at 6 o'clock on those days. We also have our Transition University, which is a 5-week self-paced course that helps families to understand that that transition piece. We provide a number of resources. We talk about what is transition. We talk about supported decision making, what's going to be best for that person that has a disability, future planning, transition into independent living, and much, much more. If you would like to see any of our upcoming events, please visit our website at www.ptc.org, where we have our calendar, and we have not only our upcoming events, but we have a slew of resources to provide that can be downloaded, we have some fillable information or fillable resources that you can utilize as well. Never hesitate to reach out to us also by emailing us at partners@ptc.org. And as I mentioned before, we do have our Spanish speaking staff who are here to support our Spanish speaking families in the state of Virginia. And we're here for you. We are here to support and be there for families when it comes to that special education system. Thanks so much. You're muted.
Thank you. Thank you for all that information. And then Kelly. So again, I want to thank everyone for sharing all this wonderful information today and for helping Virginia Family Network to share more about other organizations out there, to let them know that there's lots and lots of resources and lots of places to reach out. And like it's been said multiple times today, if you reach out to one of these organizations and they feel that you can find more resources or help at another, we share with each other. We definitely all talk with each other to make sure everyone is getting the best help and resources possible. So thank you so much and have a wonderful day.